Former President Yoon Suk-yeol now faces possible re-arrest just 4 months after his release. We will discuss the details further with Chae-hee from the legal team. Reporter Choi, as mentioned in our earlier report, MBN has also recently obtained the arrest warrant request for former President Yoon Suk-yeol. What stands out most to you in the document?
The arrest warrant request for former President Yoon Suk-yeol by the special prosecutor is 66 pages. A typical case usually involves around 10 types of charges, but this request contains about 6 times that amount, reflecting the complexity of the allegations and the vast amount of evidence. The most notable part is the section explaining the necessity of detention, which takes up more than 20 pages. What the special prosecutor repeatedly points out is what's called a legal dodge attitude. The special prosecutor's team stated in the warrant request that although former President Yoon supports the rule of law, he shows an attitude of disregarding it more than others. They also said it's unclear if he will accept the outcome, stressing that detention is necessary.
There was some expectation that former President Yoon would be summoned again and a warrant for his arrest would be requested. But is there a reason the special prosecutor is moving so quickly?
The special prosecutor's team filed the arrest warrant just 18 days after starting the investigation and the day after former President Yoon's second summons. Although the police, prosecutors, and the Corruption Investigation Office have conducted extensive investigations, considering the usual procedure of securing the custody of a key suspect, this is an unusually fast pace. It is believed that inconsistent statements from those questioned by the special prosecutor gave confidence in filing the arrest warrant. Before Yoon's second summons, the special prosecutor questioned Kang Yi-gu, former presidential aide. At that time, he reportedly reversed his earlier testimony given to prosecutors and made a new statement favorable to former President Yoon. It said that Yoon's lawyer was present during the questioning. The special prosecutor's team saw this as possible pressure or influence by former President Yoon and cited it as a key reason for detention. Kim Sang-hun, former Deputy Chief of Presidential Security, initially made statements favorable to former President Yoon, but reportedly reversed them during the special prosecutor's investigation. This likely boosted confidence in seeking the arrest warrant.
In other words, because the testimony changed depending on whether former President Yoon's lawyer was present or not, the special prosecutor decided that Yoon should be detained quickly. Another notable point is that, being a legal expert, former President Yoon took a considerable amount of time to read through the investigation records.
Yes, that's right. During the first summons, he reviewed the report for 3 hours after a 5-hour investigation, and during the second, he spent 5 hours reviewing after an 8-hour investigation. Given that former President Yoon is a former prosecutor, he would be more aware than anyone of the importance of these reports. This thorough review suggests he was preparing for any potential challenges during the arrest warrant hearing or subsequent trials. Both sides are expected to passionately contest every detail during the critical arrest warrant examination. Based on the investigation records former President Yoon reviewed, both sides are expected to strongly oppose each other during the upcoming arrest warrant hearing.
Also, as MBN has obtained and reported to you, the special prosecutor's team and former President Yoon's lawyers had a fierce dispute over the publicly released warrant request. What's the background behind this?
Even just today, there was a tense dispute between the parties over the arrest warrant request. The special prosecutor's team accused former President Yoon's legal team of leaking the full arrest warrant within a day of its release and warned they would respond firmly. This could frankly be viewed as a deliberate attempt to disrupt the judicial process. It appears that the special prosecutor investigating the insurrection is trying to pressure former President Yoon's side ahead of the arrest warrant hearing. Former President Yoon's team expressed regret to the investigators, saying it seemed like an excessive infringement on the lawyer's defense rights.
Yes, we eagerly anticipate which side the court will support when the key ruling is made in the coming 2 days. This has been Chae-hee from the Legal Affairs team.